values of American life.
Their stamp is on our Constitution, as well as some of our most treasured monuments. But they don't start out as a secret cabal.
Originally, they were a trade guild of stonemasons in England, and that's why their symbolism references various tools.
The first U.S. president was a Freemason and very public about it. He was often pictured with Freemasonic aprons and symbols.
If you look at Washington's writings, you find an ideal of religious liberty that is a leaf right out of early Freemasonry's playbook.
George Washington was the Grand Master of the Virginia Lodge, and he placed the cornerstone of the U.S. Capitol wearing his Masonic apron.
Washington wasn't the only Freemason in D.C. at this time. By 1830, Freemasons had a near monopoly on government positions.
13 of the 39 signers of the U.S. Constitution were Freemasons.
But while many founding fathers embraced the Freemasons, it wasn't long before their influence sparked a national backlash.
There was a kind of anti-Masonry craze starting in 1826. People were revolting against Freemasonry because they were concerned about political or judicial power being contained within secretive organizations.
But the power of the Masons doesn't disappear with time. In a little over 100 years, their influence returns. The 1950s, set against the anxiety of the Cold War and the Red Scare, Americans are looking for comfort and security close to home. In search of connection, they join organizations in their communities, like the Freemasons.
The 1950s was really the golden age of membership in all these fraternal groups.
In 1959, Freemasonry really hit a peak in America with an army of 4.1 million members.
Some of the famous Freemasons in the 1950s included Winston Churchill, astronaut Buzz Aldrin, Bob Dole, and even President Harry Truman.
The Freemasons are a very interesting organization because one of their key books, Morals and Dogma, openly says that the higher level Masons lie to lower level Masons and non-Masons about the meaning of Masonry.
Hoping not to get ourselves in trouble, we have some secrets of the Freemasons that we've learned in our many travels. One is the handshake.
And you might be surprised who's in on the secret.
In Kanye West's Power video, we see pillars that are symbolic of Solomon's temple. His glowing eyes can be connected to the all-seeing eyes.
Kanye West isn't stupid. He knows being tied into being a Freemason makes him look larger than life.
People like Jay-Z and Kanye West, they understand the power of these things. They incorporate them into their videos, into their lyrics, onto their clothing, and they get everybody talking.
The reason that rappers use the symbols from Freemasonry and the Illuminati is because it adds to their myth of who they are, and it makes them seem that they've reached the next level of success.
But the big secret behind the Freemasons may be that they have no secret after all.
In terms of contemporary life, Freemasonry is depicted as being some kind of a mysterious organization that has its fingers mixed in with our politics and our culture and our currency. That is absolute fantasy. Yes, there is a great deal of fraternal bonding, and there are some secret handshakes and passwords, but Freemasonry today is a civic and charitable organization. If a person wants to understand what Freemasons spend their time doing, visit a Shriners Children's Hospital.
Coming up, America's most widespread secret society is revealed.
The fascination with secret societies is more timely than ever now. People are really interested in this idea that there are secret groups that are making the world run behind closed doors.
Some of it is just about our fascination with power. I think nowadays we're starting to see more of how secrecy and power have been linked.
And that is a natural desire, to believe that there is somebody in control, that the universe isn't chaotic. Unfortunately, there aren't the grand masters of the universe pulling the trigger, causing the stock market to fall. That is merely just a fantasy.
The freedom-fighting legacy of the Illuminati and the fraternal spirit of Freemasonry live on today. But there's one inescapable secret society that has infiltrated college campuses across the nation: the fraternity.
There are over 123 fraternities and sororities operating on American college campuses. The total membership is 9 million. That's more than the entire country of Austria.
85% of the executives at Fortune 500 companies belonged to a fraternity or sorority.
After you've gone through all of the stress and sometimes humiliation of initiation, the reward is that you get a built-in group of alumni who will help you with connections to find jobs or anything as you move on to the adult world.
But fraternities aren't just about networking opportunities. Co-eds are drawn to the exclusivity and sometimes the secretive, bizarre initiation rituals.
There's a lot of secrets in the rush pledging process because they want to make a clear distinction between who's in and who's out.
I think rituals are part of the fun. If you just joined a club and all you got was a little membership card, that's not as fun as having the entire ritual where you're in a cape and a hood and you're drinking from a chalice.
But the clandestine vibe of fraternities isn't just cool. It actually starts out of necessity.
It's not a coincidence that the first fraternity is founded in 1776, the same year as the Declaration of Independence. It is part of this new kind of spirit of independence and rebellion that the students get caught up in. And if your average American is demanding his own involvement in government, well, why couldn't students demand their own control over student life?
Speed up to over a century ago, and you've got the golden age of frats, the 1950s.
In the 1950s, men flocked to college campuses because of a GI Bill that gave college tuition to returning World War II veterans.
You had a massive influx coming into the university system, and they naturally looked for companionship, camaraderie in the fraternities.
Then come the late 60s, when young people reject stodgy old establishments.
People were starting to see fraternities as being their parents' thing. People that were in fraternities were more clean-cut. Of course, that wasn't really appealing.
In the face of declining membership, the Greek system ramps up their reputation for fun, and their timing couldn't be better.
The 70s were all about me, me, me. It was the me decade, a term coined by Tom Wolfe, the novelist, getting drunk, picking up girls, and having a wild time.
And nothing redefines the frat for the me decade like Animal House.
Animal House came out in 1978, and it was a huge phenomenon. It really brought fraternity culture into mainstream America.
In the 60s, people saw fraternities as being filled with guys with crew cuts and wearing chinos and loafers, being productive members of white Christian society. And here in Animal House, you had John Belushi and his thugs living a debaucherous life, drinking beer, puking.
Animal House was a huge box office hit. It spawned a whole genre of fraternity films and films set at colleges.
Another thing Animal House spawned was toga parties. Everybody was having toga parties. And I have to tell you, not everybody looks so great in a toga.
While it looks like harmless fun on the big screen, behind closed doors, some fraternities are practicing truly destructive behavior.
Secrecy is a big problem among Greek groups because when they don't have transparency, they don't have accountability, and that's when dangerous things go on.
To get into a frat, you basically have to be willing to masturbate while blindfolded in the common area of the school. You gotta be willing to basically do whatever embarrassing, horrifying thing that the fraternity brothers make you do.
Some Greek groups take the tactic that you have to break down members in order to build them up again. They're bonding through humiliation.
It's not just boys who are subjected to this kind of humiliation during Pledge Week. Sororities force their pledges into situations where they're circling body fat, where they're being forced to bob for pickles in the toilet.
One chapter has something called boob ranking, in which pledges have to line up in order of chest size in their bras for the sisters to inspect.
But one college society is the most secretive of all. Behold, the most elite fraternity in America, Skull and Bones.
Members of Skull and Bones have included senators, congressmen, presidents, Supreme Court chief justices, and captains of industry from the media to the State Department.
The man who started this ultra-exclusive society?
William Russell was a Yale student who, in 1832, upset that he didn't get inducted into Phi Beta Kappa, came back from Germany claiming that he had been inducted into